All right, I'm Professor Juhann professor at North Carolina A&T, and I'm here to give you a presentation on why to select graduate school. So my presentation, I will hit learning objectives, learning outcomes, and then we'll have session presentations and then a conclusion. So again, I'm going to try to make up a little bit of ground since we started a little bit late due to some technical difficulties. So if I go too fast, just raise your hand and I can backtrack. So our learning objectives is discuss reasons to pursue an advanced degree, considerations to begin the application process, completing the application process, and then gaining admissions into a graduate program. We also want to make sure that you're knowledgeable about why graduate school is important. Make sure you're knowledgeable about preparing for graduate school and be informed about the benefits of attending and investing in graduate studies and the career paths as a graduate student. So our first exercise, so we're already in our groups. I want you to generate a list of 20 things that you know about graduate school currently. You're going to have, I said about 5 minutes, but a couple of minutes to complete that exercise. So right now in your groups, generate a list of about 20 things of what you currently know about graduate school. Give me two things you listed on your list.
That is true. No lower than a B in the grade.
I can't hear you.
No lower than a B.
No lower than a B? Okay.
About 2 years.
Okay, so graduate school takes 2 years and you got to get a grade no lower than a B in your classes. Let's hear about you guys.
It can be funded and you have to take, at least the GRE.
I'll take GRE and be funded, okay? And my last group, give me two.
More credibility.
More credibility. One more.
Advancement into your career.
Advancement into your career. All of you guys, all of the responses you gave are correct. So let's go on. Let's see some of the things that I've come up with for graduate school. It provides specialized knowledge and training, which I think one of the groups said. It provides more depth and breadth to subjects taken in your chosen field of study. You get to engage in research and other intellectual activities to advance it, so you can advance as well as contribute to the overall body of knowledge. And it requires a personal commitment. That piece right there requires a personal commitment is probably the most important. In addition to all of that, why go and pursue an advanced degree? Personal growth, greater employment opportunities, greater career advancement opportunities, a sense of accomplishment, greater recognition and credibility, field of study requirements, and financial reward. As most of you probably know, the more degrees you get, most of the time your salary will increase as well. Another little exercise. Trends in the economy shows that the U.S. is becoming extremely dependent on seeking higher educated and skilled workforce. We are moving from the industrial economy more to a technological economy. As you know, pop-up apps like Uber, Google, we're coming to a more technological economy. World problems are getting more complex and complicated. So we need advanced technology, advanced knowledge in order to be able to solve the world's more complex problems. Information here from the U.S. Census Bureau between 2008 and 2018, approximately 2.5 million jobs will require master, doctoral, or advanced degrees. And again, that piggybacks off of the world's problems are becoming more and more complex and complicated. So let's look at the financial reward aspect of it. This is a bar chart you can see with doctoral degrees. The median weekly and early is $1,600 a week, whereas if you just have a bachelor degree, you're looking at around $1,100 a week. So as you can see with this scale, the more knowledge that you obtain, the higher potentially your salary can be. So that's, everybody likes money, right? So, in addition to the personal commitment and the financial rewards, there are some fields of studies that require to gain entry into that particular field of study that you have to have an advanced degrees. You can see some of these listed here. So we have economists, urban planners, urban and regional planners, nurses, doctors, lawyers, some librarians, post-secondary education school teachers. So that's something to think about as well. Is right now you're an undergrad, you have your respective majors. In order to get into the entry job market at some of those majors, you may need to get an advanced degree. It's a requirement, not an option. Any questions? Okay. So this brings us to about the halfway point of this presentation. Now it's time for you to do some soul searching. Because going to graduate school is a big decision. So let's do another little exercise. So in our groups, let's generate a list of 5 reasons for attending graduate school and 5 reasons for not attending graduate school. We can do that now. So give me the 5 reasons for attending graduate school.
Okay, all 5 reasons are money.
Money.
You get a more hands-on experience within your field.
Okay.
You get to elevate your resume to the top of the title. You get a better understanding within like your specific field.
Okay.
I mean, the cons were money, like basically like getting out of school and just going straight to work. Mostly independent study, and the reason why we say this is because, like, I guess in real life, you never just by yourself. You're working with groups and, all of that. Life, you got bills and other stuff that you need to pay for, and then time consuming.
Okay, so time and money and being by yourself. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, you can go.
One con that our group came up with if like someone's wanting to start a family or do things and stuff like that, that might stop them.
I like to call that life. Life happens.
And then you get more opportunities if you do that.
Okay. So what was you just gave one. So was life like all 5 are reasons for not going to graduate school? You got 4 other ones.
It's similar to theirs. It's time-consuming, it's expensive, commitment issues.
Expensive. Okay.
People wanting to start their career early.
Okay. So hopefully out of your list, 2 of the reasons that you gave for not going to graduate school, hopefully we can debunk those myths. One is the money and the career aspect, being able to start your career. Because going to graduate school, depending upon what career field you choose, that work that you do in graduate school is enhancing that body of knowledge and is jump-starting your career. All right, did you tell me why go to grad school?
I told you one. I said for more opportunities.
Okay.
We also said self-development, elevation of social status as far as more credibility, financial reward, and career advancement.
Okay, good deal. And last but not least, my last group.
For not attending, we put obviously money and gas. It's time consuming. The location could be an issue sometimes. GPA is a big one.
Okay.
Not finding interest in research.
Okay. Again, hopefully at the end of all of this, we can debunk some of those myths. Again, the money, GPA requirements. Yes, there are GPA requirements, but there are some creative things that we as educators can do. So that don't let that be the reason why you say, I don't want to get an advanced degree. I just want to go working. And there was one other thing you said that we can debunk.
Not finding your research interest.
Oh, research interest. So that's another myth, and there's other options other than just doing research and getting an advanced degree as well. So it seems like everybody had something that's kind of in that mystical arena of why not to go to graduate school. So hopefully we can change your mind over the course of these next couple of days. So some of the reasons I came up with would be increase your earning potential, which I think everybody likes money and can agree that getting an advanced degree would increase your earning potential. Professional growth and development and the advancement of your career. Again, with more knowledge, you're able to progress your career a lot faster than some of your colleagues that don't have the advanced or additional knowledge in their chosen field. And then this is the most important one, in my opinion. You get to gain knowledge about a field that you enjoy, that you're passionate about, that you love. And so doing that, then is not really work. You're just doing what you like doing. You like playing video games, you get up, go play the video game. That's not work. So what's next in the graduate school process? So what you need to do when you start to look at graduate schools is research the ratings and reputation of graduate schools. Like the Vice Chancellor said, education these days is just about, on an equal playing field. So it's really a lot about where you go. Has to do with your personality, the culture of the university, and the research opportunities. And again, A lot of graduate school is all about what you put in. Whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you put a little bit in, you're going to get a little bit out. You put a lot in, you're going to get a lot out. But to kind of segue back to this, you need to look at what the university requirements are for admission into the graduate program in your field of study. Different fields of study have different requirements. You need to also look at the type of research that's being conducted at those universities and the professors conducting that particular research, and then what student services are available at that respective program. And then this is the most important one: what kind of financial support can a student expect at that particular university? Make sense? How much educational debt the graduate students leave with? You need to ask that question. That's a very important question. How many students within the school or program completes the plan of study, completes their actual degree? Sometimes people will go start a degree program and life happens and they don't get an opportunity to complete it, or they put it on pause for a little while to deal with their life situations, and they come back and complete their degree program. But that's very important if you plan on going all the way through, to say, hey, how many people are you guys pushing out on a yearly basis? How many years does it typically take to complete your program of study or your degree program? Again, the location of the university and the associated costs. Where are the graduates employed? Are the people that graduate from this degree program, are a lot of your graduates going into research places? Or are they going into academia, or are they going to private companies working? And then this is another important one: the university or program expectations. Again, if you don't know the rules of the game going in, how can you be successful? So we want to know what's going to be the foundation of the rules that you're going to be playing by. And then going on, you're preparing already to be successful because you're here participating in this conference to learn about graduate school. And so the next step would be, if you really want to pursue graduate school, is start again going through that list, narrowing down some graduate schools, and start doing campus visits, because again, that will be the place that you will stay at least for the next 2 years, if not a little bit longer, if you decide to go get a PhD. So you're going to be there for a while. So you need to make sure that you're going to enjoy the atmosphere and, again, have a good time. Even though you're a graduate student, you're still a student. You're going to party, do other things. So you need to make sure they have the lifestyle that you like to partake in. You need to become familiar with deadlines and timetables for submitting your application. You need to go ahead and create a purpose statement. If you need to take GREs, take your GREs, get your transcripts together, resume, letters of recommendation, and most importantly, look at the individual GPA requirement for your individual universities. The GPA requirement will vary from university to university, even in the same degree program. So you want to take note of that. And now most universities are giving you options. If you don't meet a certain GPA requirement, there are additional things you can do, because the GPA, resume, personal statement, all makes up the whole package. So it's kind of a weighted average. Yes, thanks, sir.
I had a question about the GRE. I had a couple questions, actually. So my first question is, when, in relevance to when you're graduating, should you take the GRE? And what is a good time frame, would you say, to start in preparation for the GRE?
The GRE, you could take any time. I would say, depending upon your major or study, I would say a good time to start studying for the GRE probably the end of your junior year, that summer, going into your senior year, and then the first part of your senior year, as soon as you get back, maybe it's August, September, October, you actually take the GRE. Again, when you take the GRE depends on, again, what universities you want to apply to for graduate school, because they have cutoff dates. Some are earlier than others. But if you want to take it multiple times, I would say at least, your junior year, first part of your senior year. Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if I'm moving ahead, but when would be a good time to actually start applying for these grad schools?
So, and Dr. Roulette probably can elaborate a little bit more on this, but most of your graduate application depends on which semester you're trying to apply for. For your fall application, most universities want you to apply by the early spring, so you can get accepted. If you're going to do spring, it would be either summer or fall at the latest.
And what is that? That's the right answer.
But it depends on the university.
But, so, that's a great answer. My advice is as soon as you are interested. Okay, it doesn't hurt to email a professor. It doesn't hurt to talk to people. It doesn't hurt to visit ahead of time, so they get to know you. Because we've talked about getting our research, getting paid to do the research. There's also scholarships, and the earlier you apply, the more likely you are to get one of those scholarships. So you could come, let's say the start date is September, you could come here in August and say, I want to start in September in 3 weeks, and we might have an RA and we could hire you and we could do it really quickly. But those scholarships would have been given out 8 months earlier. So earlier the better.
Yep, earlier the better.
It's typically, if it's the fall, the deadline's January, February, so doing everything in the previous fall makes sense.
Yep.
So, good answer.
And so, kind of to piggyback off of that, a lot of that goes to once you identify a university, you start that dialogue. And then they will be able to tell you what their funding cycles are. Whether they get a lot of funding in the fall, a lot of funding in the spring. Again, that's probably one of the questions you want to ask. How are your students funding, and where do you get your most funding, and what's the best opportunity for me to fit in? Because it may be a situation where, let's say you do want to work, or life happened, and you want to take a year or two off, and okay, they have the most funding come in the spring. Well, instead of applying in the fall, let's apply during the spring. Because a lot of graduate students have a lot of people apply in the fall, and so there may be more funding available in the spring.
That's right. And I'll add one more thing. Don't be afraid to ask for if there's an opportunity to visit. So if you wrote us and said, hey, is there an opportunity to come up and look at the school? We would help fund that trip up. That'd be your airfare and that. You come up, meet the professors, see what opportunities are there. And again, the earlier you're there, the better. So we're going to have a student coming up from UT Rio Grande Valley in about a month who wants to go to grad school. That's a long way. I lived in Texas for 10 years. Texas is a long way from Nebraska, right?
Right.
And he needs, for this student, happens to be a young man, he needs to come up and see the city. He needs to see the people, meet the professors, because it's really hard to say, I'm going to come to this place 1,000 miles away without visiting. You really want to go and visit everyone. And so, I never did this when I was a student, but yeah, we'll fly you up. If you're interested and we're interested in you, we'll fly you up and we'll have a meeting, and then you can make a more informed decision.
Correct.
So that again goes with earlier the better.
Yes. Any other questions? Good. Okay. And then you want to make sure you fully understand the admissions process. So again, part of fully understanding that admission process is when you do those visits, make those contacts, make sure you ask the right questions. Because again, by having all your paperwork in, every piece of paper that they need in the timely manner will help you get those funding opportunities, and make sure if you really want to get into that particular graduate school, you can get in. The Graduate Admissions Committee is mostly comprised of professors. The department, professors and researchers, they evaluate each of the applications. And the applications that are submitted, it's a competitive process. So they'll have so many graduate slots or funding opportunities available that they need to fill. And so the best qualified candidates is the ones that they extend, offers to, especially when it comes to getting full ride funding opportunities. And then last but not least, follow up and be proactive. So make sure you follow up to see where your application is. Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What do you mean exactly by competitive applications?
So what I mean by competitive applications, meaning they have a cutoff date, and let's say everybody in this room wants to come to UNL to do something in the transportation center. Well, they may only have 5 available slots available where they can give you full funding. And so again, if one of the reasons for not going to graduate school is money, your goal is to get as much money as possible. You shouldn't have to pay for graduate school because of research opportunities. So if your goal is to get one of those 5 spots, and those 5 spots are fully funded, the earlier you get your application and show interest, the more likelihood that you'll get one of those 5 spots. That's not to say you wouldn't get accepted into their graduate program. You would just get accepted in their graduate program and they'll say, we like you, but we only got $2 to give to you. And you're going to say, well, $2 is not going to cut it. I need $16,000. I need you to pay for my tuition, books. I like a little stipend. Can you do a little bit better? And they're going to say, well, if you would have applied a couple of months earlier, then I could have given you, $16,000 or whatever that, tuition, books, and stipend amount is. So that means now you got to deal with life and try to go to school at the same time if you really want to be at UNL, or go to another university that has money or funding available for you. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. So kind of wrapping this up, attending graduate school offers tangible and intangible opportunities. Earning potential is higher than those with just a bachelor's degree. Understanding factors that you should consider prior to starting your application will greatly enhance your opportunities for putting together a very competitive application. And then you just need to be proactive about the investment being made into your graduate studies. Again, you're going to invest hours filling out applications for graduate school just like you did when you were applying to undergrad. It's the very same process. The only thing that makes it a little bit differently is that in a lot of graduate programs, funding is available. And so you're not only competing just to get in, you're also competing for those funding opportunities. That concludes my presentation.